Hello and welcome to the O-Ring stream. So usually I'm doing blockies content, particularly Transformers, but this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I've been kind of going to cons and kind of getting some O-Ring figures. Some of them retro, some of them newer, modern ones. And I thought tonight maybe I'll just do a stream where we look at all the O-Ring or all the O-Ring figures I have, or not all of them, but kind of a selection of what I've gotten recently and how the modern ones compare to the retro style. So what I have right now on the desk is I have some the older retro style O-Rings from early mid 80s. None of these are from when I was a kid. Those have been long gone. But let's see, this one was a gift from a friend. This is Chuckles from the G.I. Joe line. All three of these are from the Hasbro's G.I. Joe in the 80s. This Chuckles was a gift from a friend of mine. He gave me when I joined the Finest, which is a G.I. Joe costume club I'm in, and my first costume with them was Chuckles. I also have a version 2 Tiger Force Dusty. I do also do this costume as well. I found this at a comic convention a couple weeks ago. And then this is, I believe this is version 3 of Cobra Commander in his armor. I got this at another comic convention a couple weeks ago. So what I'd like to do is start out with these three. I'm going to take apart this one definitely because he's in rough shape. He's got a crack right here. Maybe I should, hold on, let me get some better lighting. He's got a crack right there. It looks like his O-rings definitely needs to be replaced, but the arm's pretty good. His legs are really tight, so those are good. And it looks like, maybe he got shot by a dog at some point or something on his foot. So, and he's missing some paint around his collar, and his face is a little worn. So what I think what I do tonight is I'm definitely going to replace this O-ring in here. Some of the screws are a little rusty, but I think I'll leave them in for now. Maybe replace them when I can get a hold of a new leg for them, and maybe this front chest piece someday. And I think we're going to just clean off some of the parts with some rubbing alcohol and see if we can get a little bit of the grime that's on here out. So let's get started. If you're not familiar with the O-rings, early 80s toy. And they're called O-rings because inside, I need to, hold on. One thing I forgot was a screwdriver. Just 1 second. Or unless I have one in this. So I bought this repair kit from Amazon. It has some new O-rings, some new screws, and some hooks, and some stands in it. So actually, we might just go ahead and use the itty-bitty screwdrivers in here. Here's the screws. Or no, these are the hooks and leg parts. Here's the O-rings. Here's some screws and these little screwdrivers. And then here's kind of what the stands look like. So let's start with, see if the screwdriver is even useful. If not, I'll go to just run and grab yeah, this one might not. Let's see. Okay, so there's a screw deep in here. And see, it looks like there's a little rust in there. That's a Phillips head. So I'm going to get in there with a screwdriver. Well, it's okay. Actually, okay, so that screw came out easy. There it is right there. I am gonna go grab that other screwdriver real quick. Hold on one sec. All right. We'll just use this screwdriver from this kit. And I think I'm gonna start out with a 000 screw. I think that'll work for this. And we'll just leave that off this side for now. Okay, so we got this, and now we're gonna have to, what we wanna do is separate the torso. Now that screws out. And when we do that, the head's gonna pop out, the arms are going in, it's basically gonna fall apart. So I don't know if you noticed when I was originally showing you, this was the waist was like very loose. And we can take the waist out. Waist is in pretty good shape. Whoops. It's a little dirty. It's dirty inside, definitely. But the paint's pretty good on it. So I think that's a piece I can keep. But I'll try and find another Chuckles figure down the line. Okay, so this is almost broken. So we're just going to go ahead and pop that off. And the hook with the legs looks okay. I don't think we're going to replace the hook. Now there's screws on the leg here. And what we could do is, and I'm going to go ahead and just take this apart a little bit further, even though we don't need to. Because I think this figure is the figure to do that with, since it's such bad shape. Okay, so get that screw out. And then this leg will separate. And then here's the inside mechanics. There's a little peg in here for the knee joint. There's the screw post. And then this right here was where this hook will fit in. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and put it back together because this hook looks good. I'm going to put the screw back in. Just get it to float in a little bit. And then we'll just put the screw back. All right, so that's back together. I'm going to go ahead and see. Oh, is that dirt or is that? I think that may just be. No, that's a little messy. Okay, so I'm going to take some rubbing alcohol, and we're just going to clean it up with this and a toothbrush real quick. I'm just going to go over it real quick. Nothing. I don't think the legs need to be scoured really. And I'm just going to do this real quick. And we're going to set this off to dry. It won't take long. It's rubbing alcohol. All right, now let's look at the back. So a little bit of scuffing on the flower there. Post is just a little bit dirty. I don't know if that's going to do anything. Hello, Firewall. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. All right, so this one actually looks pretty good as far as dirt goes. Okay, so that's the back. Here's the front. Definitely got a lot of chipping on the neckline there. Of course, we got this huge crack. So this front piece, I want to find another figure of these. See if I can swap out this part. Definitely some little dirt there. Let's see, and then that came right off with the rubbing alcohol. Oh man, I hope it's Firewall. I hope it's gonna be you're gonna do better than what you're expecting. I'm hoping it's not medical. If it is, I will definitely pray for you. But don't need to say that here. I'm definitely not going to pry, but I'll keep that in mind. Hopefully, something that you'll be able to continue coming back to stream, so we can maybe take a break from whatever's bothering you with these streams. All right, so that's that. I'm gonna get the inside of his neck. Oh, good. Glad to hear, Firewall. All right, still a little grime in this shoulder area. Don't think I'm gonna get it with this toothbrush, but I got most of it. I think that's fine. Okay, now let's go. Yes, so these are the O-ring ones. So this is the O-ring, and I think you might have missed when I took it apart. Don't worry, because we're going to take apart a couple more in a little bit. Whoops. So yeah, these will have a band. I got some replacement bands. So this was the band that was inside, and of course I broke it, went ahead and broke it, taken it apart, but it was stretched. The waist was really floppy. And so this one, on him, he's got part of an eyebrow where the paint's rubbed off, and that was before I started brushing him. So I've cleaned up his face a little bit. Actually, that cleaned up pretty good. Oh, okay. So this may be a learning stream for you. I mean, we're kind of so okay. So a little bit of corrosion right there. I'm gonna see if I can get that off with the alcohol. So I had these when I was a kid. Some of these are not mine from when I was a kid. These are this one I'm working on was a gift from a friend. It's pretty banged up, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up a little bit anyway. So there's actually, I think it's not showing up on camera, but there's a little discoloration right here. I don't think it's not dirt. I think it's actually maybe sun damage or something. So maybe we'll try to replace the arm someday. And let's see, here's the other arm. And actually, it looks like so there is some scum on it. And it looks like there's some discoloration on there too. I'm kind of surprised. I wonder if it's because I wonder if the plastic on the arm is different than the plastic on the chest. And we're still not getting, let's apply a little bit more rubbing alcohol to this. I don't think those spots are coming out. So maybe we're finding out that there's a little bit more bad spots on here than are great. So I don't know if it's going to be worth trying to get parts for the figure. Maybe I just keep this because a friend gave it to me. I may just keep it as is. But let's replace the O-ring though. I think it's worth it for that. So let me get out this O-ring here. Like I said, I got kind of an O-ring repair package from Amazon. Pretty cheap, about $7 US, I think. If I remember right. So that's the O-ring that we're going to use. And what we're going to do is, we got this hook with the legs. I'm going to put on the hook right here. Oh, you got the classified at 2000? I got a 2000 figure where we can compare this to in a little bit. You're talking about I think what they're calling the 4-inch modern figures. Okay, so now I got his waist, and we're going to run the O-ring through here. And we'll try to feed it up through the waist. I may need to use this screwdriver to kind of grab it and get it through. There we go. Okay. So now we got the O-ring up through the waist. And I need to grab the back. What we're going to do is we're going to wrap the O-ring around the back, this post in the back here. Like that. And then we got to pull up and get that back seated back into the waist. We need to lay the arms in like this. Then we need to grab the head. And then, whoops, these two posts on the head need to go under the shoulder. And this is probably best done laying flat, actually. So let's do that. We'll lay it flat. And what you got to do is be careful that this band doesn't snap forward. Okay, now we got the chest, so we just get under into there. Match all the posts up. Whoops. Yeah, see, these, I remember, these are a little rough when I was a kid to do, too. Yeah, so I think in the U.S., that was a Walmart exclusive line. And I do got one of those figures. I got Stalker over here. I'll show you in a sec. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I get that rubber band. So this is kind of the more frustrating parts of getting these together, is to get all the pieces in place and just having them stay there while you try to put the chest piece back on. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to get this up to the neck. And then, there we go. Now we got snapped in, and then we replace the screw in the back. Put it back in. And I'm using the old screw. I'm not using one of the new screws on this one. And then there he is. He's, as far as the O-ring, he's as good as new. It's nice and tight. Yeah, we're gonna, yeah, some of this, so I got kind of a lower percentage of rubbing alcohol, and we're letting it dry pretty good. Luckily, like, these retro figures are something I can, they're not in the greatest shape, so I'm not horribly, if I think it'll do good on these. So, old O-rings had some neck movement. There was a cut below the shoulder. And then they had these. So on these, what you need to do is, no. So the ones we have out right now, Firewall, these are from the 80s. This one was a gift from a friend that he found in a vintage store, and it's in rough shape. This one's not in great shape at all. And then it bends and knees like that, and then you can put that. Now, so these are all these three are from the 80s. I do have some Super 7 and Skeletron ones, and then some reissues we can look at in a little bit. Okay, so that's Chuckles. And these were by Hasbro back in the 80s. I don't have any of the Action Force ones, which were the English version of G.I. Joe. Okay, so this is Tiger Force Dusty version 2 of Dusty. What I like about this is this cloth is in good shape. I am looking at him. Whoops. And we are not. Okay, the screw's rusty. Oh, that one's really rusty. So I'm definitely gonna go ahead and replace the screws. But I don't see any dirt, really. So I don't think we're gonna hit him with rubbing alcohol. The O-ring is tight, so we're not gonna replace this one. Oh, my mic's cutting out? That might be internet. I don't know. I'm not sure. The paint's really good on this one. This is a really good figure. All I need to do is replace the screws. Of course, we're missing the backpack. No. One thing is wrong with this figure. Can't do anything about tonight, but this part of the crotch is broke, which is pretty common among G.I. Joe figures from the 80s. So someday, see if I can find another Dusty, maybe not as good a shape. But if the waist is in good shape, we'll replace the waist someday. But I think right now we're just going to do screws. So let's do that real quick. I get 3 new screws from our kit, our little kit I bought. Yeah, I'm not sure. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad. For the mic's going to get better. Okay, so we're going to take the screw out from the back. We're going to put that off to the side. And I'm just going to go ahead and replace it right now with a brand new screw. And then we're going to do the 2 legs as well. I'm kind of surprised on how really good. So this is what I got at a con, my local Comic Con a couple weeks ago. Okay, that one is tight in there. And it was not expensive at all. It was pretty cheap. I think I got it for $10. I might go ahead and get inside that screw post. See if I can knock some of the corrosion out there. There we go. And let's get that other new screw in. Yeah, no, I understand you, Firewall. There's so much stuff to get you could get a hold of nowadays. If you weren't that into Joe's when you were a kid, I wouldn't like. I'd probably stay away too if I didn't have them. I had this figure as a kid, and that Chuckles. Actually, my brother had Chuckles when we were kids. There's no rust in that post. Whoops. Okay. Let's see if I can get that screw seated in there. So another thing about these, which I was going to mention earlier, the hands were often a problem. Often the fingers would break off when you got the weapons in and out because this plastic was so brittle. The modern figures, or the newer figures, tend to fix that. Okay, so his head is kind of floppy for some reason. I'm not going to worry about that right now. But other than that, he's in really good shape. Other than that and this crotch part, he's in really good shape. So we're going to put aside Dusty for now. The classified line is really good. I have a bunch of classified too. In fact, we'll do a comparison between this and modern and classified just as soon as we get done with Cobra Commander. Then we'll move on to the other lines I've gotten a hold of tonight. Okay, so this is Cobra Commander, version 3, I think. if I remember right, version 1 was the helmet. Version 2 was the Hood Cobra Commander. And then this was the third one they came out with. And Snake's helmet's a little rubbed on his Snake. The paint's a little rubbed there. He doesn't have the hose for his head, but a little rubbed belt, little paint rubbed off the belt buckle. Other than that, he's in good shape. He's got a little rust in that screw right there. He's clean. I don't see any dirt. Let's see. This screw has some rust on it. This screw is very light corrosion on it. I'll probably just replace these screws real quick. Ooh, this one's slipping. Let's see if I can get out. Can I even get... I think someone's tried to get this one out before. It's because it's slipping a little bit, but I got the smallest Phillips I could get in here. I don't know if that one's coming out. I think... Let me see. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, that one's out. Let's replace the screw in here. I don't think I can get that far deep in with the toothbrush. So we'll just... If this one ends up getting corroded later, we'll just have to replace it again. And this O-ring is... sus. I think I'm going to keep it in for a while longer. The dusty one's really good. I don't think I'm going to replace... Since we did an O-ring replacement for that, I showed you how to do the O-ring replacement on Chuckles. I'm going to leave this one for a little while. Maybe I'll get it down off stream, get it out off stream someday. Let's get the new screw in here. Be nice and clean. Okay, that one's in. And then we'll just replace this one real quick. That. Okay. Got that new screw, let's see it in. And we'll just put that in. Okay. It's making some sort of clicking noise when I've been screwing it out. I'm hoping that, oh, you know what? Look at that. Okay, so maybe on this one, okay, on this other leg, I'm gonna take the screw out, run the screw out, and then I'm gonna do a better job holding the leg together and see if that will fix that. Let's see how that goes. Okay, yeah, that's back. Okay. I'm going to do the same with this one. This one's a little... Okay, I'm going to press it together with the two fingers, with that finger and thumb, and then put the screw back in. And that one still has a little gap in there. Actually has a gap in the back here, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm hoping that plastic's not stripped in there, so because not anything I can do with that except for different legs. I'm gonna put this aside. Otherwise, it looks pretty good. Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to do this stream a little bit, because I wanted to kind of we're gonna compare. we're gonna tear apart some modern O-rings and see if they've what they've done to those. So his head's wobbly as well, and may revisit these legs a little some other time. Okay, so put these to the side. Actually, we're gonna keep this one out. We keep this here, and let's do we'll do a little size comparison, up down size comparison. Whoops. There we go. Okay, so this is 3 and 7, 3 3/4 inch. Man, sorry, Firewall. I don't know what that is in centimeters. Actually, you know what? Let's grab something. Let's grab a ruler. I'll tell you what it is in centimeters. All right, so in centimeters, that is about, looks like it's about 10 centimeters, 100 millimeters. And then we got, okay, so here's what it is again. This is a modern one. This is the line you were talking about earlier, Firewall, the more modern line. It's a 4-inch line. And I'm going to say 10.5 centimeters. I guess that'd be what, 115 millimeters, right? Or no, 105. I'm sorry. So, and then, so that's the size difference between these two. Let's zoom in just a little bit for a sec. Not much difference. I have a history vehicle made for this line, but I think these figures will work good in it. And so there is our modern figure. Now let's zoom out a little bit back again, and then this is our classified Cobra Commander, 6-inch classified, and by 6-inch, he's a little more. This is a 6-inch ruler, so he's just a little bit more than 6 inches, which I'd say he's probably about 16 centimeters, I'm guessing, maybe just under. So there is the comparison between our different kind of main styles of or sizes. And of course, you know, our classified Cobra Commander has he adds ab crunch, wrist swivel that the those O-rings don't have. Also ankle and boot cut, which these can't have the boot cut because of the way they're put together. Oh, for freedom units? I like the name of that. Okay. Well, it's too late. I already done it. But yeah, I appreciate it. This has swappable hands, which we cannot swap the hands on our O-rings. I think that's going to be the main as far as... Now, this goes around a little bit. So that's our main kind of more modern articulation points that between the O-rings. And this one has most of those same ones. It doesn't have the cut on the arm, upper arm, but it has pretty much everything else for this one. So there is, so these are the retro ones we looked at. An inch is roughly 2.5 centimeters, says Firewall. Okay, that's cool. I never remember. I just don't use metric that much. All right, so here's our retro figures. Let's put them aside for just a second. And let's open up a modern figure. And I think what's on top here? I'm going on top of the pile. And we're going to stay with Hasbro. These are modern Hasbro O-rings. And these are from the Ghostbuster line. Don't worry, I'll probably have some Joes later. They aren't, so affordability of these modern ones, it depends on which figure. I've seen them range on eBay, at least in here. They're going to range somewhere between $10 and up to, depend on figure, up to 30. I believe Storm Shadow, the Baroness are some of the more expensive figures, but I saw Lady J for $10. I may pick her up, but they want $5 shipping. So I'd say realistically, at least my experience on eBay, about $15 US. And I believe that's what they retailed for when they were in Walmart. All right, so let's open this up. So I'm gonna. This is Ghostbusters, the plasma pack, the R ring, and there is a vehicle Echo 1 for this that I've not purchased yet. All right, so it's nice packaging. There's the lore. There's the pictures. Let's go ahead and I think I'm going to open this from the top. There's just a little bit of tape right there. I think we just named it G.I. Joe. I think it was, I'm trying to think, I don't think it was an anniversary set. I don't think they really had a special name for it. I think this is just the retro collection, if I remember right, maybe. But it wasn't on the packaging. It's kind of, I think it's a term people came up with after, and for the aftermarket. But they were Walmart exclusive here. Okay, it comes with, I don't know what this is. I'm not going to worry about it. So we'll keep the box. I'll put this box in a closet somewhere probably. So Real American Hero often refers to the original Marvel comics and any comics written by what's his name? I gotta remember his name. I'm gonna think about his name. I've met him in real life a while ago. But usually, just because he had been the same author of that series throughout its life, or it's the same storyline, it's still going on today. Started with Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics ended up canceling it at issue 280 something. Then continued with IDW in the, I think, early 2000s. And then currently it's being produced by Image and Skybound. Larry Hama, that's it. So Real American Hero typically would refer to that his comic series. And then there are other G.I. Joe comics. I'm trying to be careful with this. There are other G.I. Joe comics that have a different storyline. It's just called G.I. Joe. They just simply call it G.I. Joe. I don't want to break these hands or anything. I just think it's, because here's the thing, there is a classified retro series too that used to be Walmart exclusive. And it was just a classified series on retro cards and brighter paint schemes usually. Okay, so he has a proton pack that comes with him. And he has the same kind of screw setup. So the peg in is kind of squared off at the top. And let's look at him. Okay, so his head is not, it can't go back and forth, up and down at all. You know, I probably should have kept that Chuckles disassembled for a comparison. He is pretty much the same articulation as the retro figures, except for he actually has, the neck doesn't go up and down. He actually has a little less articulation than the retro on this one. That's interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm going to keep these in the package because I think I'm just comparing figures right now. But it looks pretty good. Let's. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to decide if I want to actually take him apart or not. I think let's hold off on this one. I have another Hasbro, another modern Hasbro that I might want to. I'd rather take apart if we get to the end of the stream. Let's hold off on taking these apart. But here we got Winston, also Peter and Ray. So I'm gonna put these aside, and they come up. So it comes up with also comes with a PKE meter, a ghost trap, and then goggles, and then they each have their own proton pack on the back, and these are the throwers. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this. I'm gonna go ahead and put him up with the other figures. I'll put this aside, and I'll probably look at those figures individually off screen. That might be it. So it does have, okay, so you know what, you mentioned it does have the arm rotation, but it is low down. See, so here's this, the seam is right there. So it does have it. Right there. It's just, it is below, but it's right below the ghost figure. Or the logo. It's just the weird thing is it doesn't have the neck articulation. We'll see what the other figures have look like, the other Hasbro figures have look like. But we're going to jump to Skeletron. Or no, hold on. We're going to jump to Super 7. Yeah, it's hard to see. I actually didn't notice it until you mentioned it. Okay, so Super 7. Not Hasbro. This is their Reaction Plus line. So, which basically means it's O-ring. The original Reaction line was not an O-ring. It was just, they were basically the only articulation they had was at the shoulders and I believe the legs. Otherwise, they really didn't have any. I don't even think they had elbow articulation. But I haven't bought the old ones, so I don't know for sure. I started getting interested when they started doing O-ring figures. So we got Cobra Commander, and we got another one that we'll look at in a sec. But let's open up Cobra Commander real quick. This bubble. All right, so take the bubble off, put that aside. So here's the card, and then he had a file card, and I was kind of surprised. Super 7 has the file cards all in English. Now some of the Hasbro cards have had a much shorter lore, and in different languages. So, I mean, this is good for me. And then here's some other figures I have. I think these are all out now. These have been all released. Well, I mean, no, it's not a deal break. It wasn't a deal breaker on the Super Sevens. It was the articulation, the really limited articulation, which was deal breaker on those. It was just they're like really stiff. And I just wasn't, and they're really expensive for that too. Now these are about the same price, but they have better articulation and the O-ring, which is, for me, is neat. Okay, so here's Cobra Commander with a cape. And this is supposed to be from the old 80s movie. This is right before he was overthrown by Globulus in the movie, I believe. If I remember right. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. Okay, so let's look at Super 7 differences. So he does have an up and down. And he has a little bit of side by side. He's got that arm cut. He's got the bend. Same bend. No wrist. Yeah, but the price and the articulation was, it just wasn't. So here's the thing. I was looking at Super 7 figures, the original reaction with no O-ring, poor articulation, $20, and at the time, G.I. Joe Classifieds was $20. So which one would you buy? For me, it was definitely the Classifieds. So he's got the same wrist there. So his articulation does match the retro figures very well. His proportions are a little different. He's got, thinner boots. Actually, the head's about the same size. We might look at another figure. I had Duke back there that I had opened. Yeah, no, I get it. I understand. Yeah, Super 7 is definitely kind of like seeing themselves as a premium company. Yeah, but that's just why I didn't do the original Reaction line. I like the Reaction Plus a little bit, but I don't buy all the Reaction Plus. I only buy certain figures when I see them. Now they're going to do a movie version Chuckles. I will be buying that. That's in the next wave. I'm just waiting for that to come out. So there's our Cobra Commander. I'm going to put him up here, and we got one more from Super 7 I want to open, and I think we're going to take that one apart. And this one's kind of neat. Oh, he has a scepter too. So we'll put that in his hand. All right. We got Snake Eyes, and this is a radioactive version of Snake Eyes from an episode of, I believe it was the Mass Device episode, if I remember right. This is when he got irradiated. Here's the back. And he supposedly almost died. He was rescued by Timber and what some of us Americans would call an Eskimo, which would be a native of the northern part of North America. No. The Club Grayskull is a Mattel thing, I believe. It's going on today. Now, originally, Mattel had the Master Universe Classics line. That might be what you're thinking of. I don't know what I don't know what Master Universe Figures Super 7's done, honestly. I know they've done a lot of Ninja Turtle stuff. These are actually the only Super 7 figures I've gotten, are these O-rings. If I was getting like larger size figures, if it had to be premium, sometimes I'd get, I have gotten, oh crap, what's their, I'll have to remember the name of that company. Oh, it was? Okay. Well, Mattel's using that Club Grayskull name right now with their premium, with their membership club on their website. That's what, I guess that's why I got confused, because they're currently using it. Because I was a member of that last year, and I would have had let my subscription run out on that, because they don't have much left for me to get. Okay, so here's the Snake Eyes, and we're gonna open this. We are gonna take this one apart, I think, just to see what's up. And hopefully we won't harm this one. This is the mask. So what's cool about this one is, let's see. Let's turn off that light. Turn off this light. So, yeah, some Americans consider it offensive. Some don't. I don't know what they think, honestly. It's definitely the term I used as a kid. So this, okay, so this will glow. This does glow. It usually glows a little better. There we go. So this one has a nice glow feature. I'm hitting it with a UV flash light I have. Doesn't stay long. Yeah, I mean, the different races and naming different races in America is kind of a touchy subject. And there's just some people who take offense of it more than other people do. And it usually runs along the political affiliation lines, typically. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take the back screw out, and we're going to kind of see what's going on in there. Screws out, and we'll see. Can we get apart the torso? So yeah, I mean, in America, Native Americans who are the U.S. portion before were often called Indians before. In fact, we got a baseball team still called the Indians. Some people prefer to use Native American. Some people think it's racist, think that the Indian term is racist. I'm in an area where we do have a lot of Indians, Native Americans around, and most of the ones I've run across really don't care. Oh, that's weird. So this has got a little tape around the neck, and I guess that's to help with the or just kind of keep it a little stiff. That's kind of neat. So here's the O-ring. It looks like it's going down into a hook similar to the to the Chuckles figure. So yeah, this is very similar. This is almost identical engineering to the old retro figure, except for they've added this tape here to keep limit or kind of keep the head neck tight. It's interesting. Eventually, that's going to rub, I imagine, and wear out. But hey, it's good for now. I may have to open this up again someday and wrap some plumber's tape around that to get the tightness back. In fact, that's maybe what I should do with these. With these is tape them apart, put in some plumber's tape maybe around it, and see if that'll help the get tighter articulation on the neck. Okay, so let's wrap this one back up. I'm not going to take apart the legs on this. I don't really see too much of a point. I imagine they're about similar too. I'm willing to assume on this one. These were not meant to be taken apart. Now our Skeletron figures, which we're going to do next, are meant to be taken apart. And I'll show you why in a little bit. So there's our... Okay, so here is a modern G.I. Joe, Super 7 G.I. Joe figure up against a retro one. And here's what I'm gonna let me grab something off my shelf real quick. So basically, kind of what I like about what Super 7 does is they do go on and do some these characters that never made it to the G.I. Joe, the old line, the retro line. This is from the cartoon. This is called a Fatal Fury. And this was in one episode only. But I thought it was a neat figure. I'm not taking this one apart, definitely. But just thought I'd show that. And then I never had a Serpentor when I was a kid, so I got the Super 7 Serpentor. And then the only other one I have is Duke. I have this costume for the finest. Now, what I wanted to show Duke, why I wanted to show Duke is, notice the difference in proportions on the retro and then Super 7. I don't know if it comes off of the camera, but Dusty has a significantly larger head, and compared to Duke, and his feet. His feet are more. So the new Duke's feet are a little bit more realistic or proportioned than it seems to me than the retro figure. So Super 7 Duke, retro Dusty. And this Duke actually doesn't have the up and down that the Snake Eyes had. So it looks like actually Super 7 has improved their articulation between waves on their figures. Yeah. So there's something to note, that Super 7 is improving along the way. Oh, another feature that, let's see, does this have it? No. Okay, so another feature this Duke has that the other Super 7 figures, or that the Cobra Commander have it, I'll check, is, oh no, it doesn't. Okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. Identical articulation. It's just that the Snake Eyes and the Cobra Commander, which are newer figures in the Super 7 line, have that up and down on, they can nod. All right, so I'm going to put this up here, We're going to put this off to the side. And, oh, this is Snake Eyes' weapon. I guess we'll put it in his hand. I want to be a little careful because the hand is painted. And then there's really no... This is the mass device container. We're just going to... Let's do this. Let's bend his arm. And let's have him carrying it like this. Oh, it has... I didn't notice that before. It has a Cobra symbol on it. All right. So we'll have him like this. I like that Snake Eyes figure. I like the Cobra Commander too, but that Snake Eyes figure is even cooler than I thought it'd be. All right, so next, we got on time. Okay, we're doing good. I got 2 Skeletron figures. I got a Yeti and we got Zergonaut, this is a very new one. Yeah, no, I don't want to talk. Well, yeah, definitely not. This is not a political stream at all. And I did not tell you what my position is on it. So, all right. So with these figures, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna open up Yeti first. So Yeti is a kind of a considered a special figure. I am going to open it because this is the less rare version of him. Because of the card. So the original card, which is a more limited edition, has his face with helmetless art. So this gentleman, this is based on a real life person. Don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name unless on the back. Yes, Aaron Roma, who was a retro or a toy shop in Ohio. He passed away a little over a year ago of cancer. So he was popular in the G.I. Joe community, particularly in Ohio, which does have a once a year G.I. Joe convention called Assembly Required. And he was very well respected there. That Skeletron made him a figure honoring him. And so this is that. I am going to open this one. I didn't know him, honestly. I didn't know. I believe I met him once or at that convention, and I did hang out with his wife a little bit at that convention too. It was a really nice lady. He wasn't really into health to hang out, but nice. But my understanding, really nice guy, and it's kind of cool that there are a company out there who honors people, would willing to honor someone with their own action figure as an indie company. Proceeds for this figure does go to his family. Did go to, or has been going to his family. I wish I was hoping I'd get this card better than this. I had a chance to get the other card one, but it was a limited supply at the convention I was at, and there were a whole bunch of people who actually knew him. So I was like, I don't need the figure. I don't need that figure that much right now. I want to give everybody who actually knew him well a chance to get the figure. So I passed on it until they released this version. All right. Let's see what we got. Oh, here we got some equipment in this section still. All right. So this will be my first Skeletron O-ring to look at. This is not the one we'll take apart. I will take apart this other one because we need to for what we're going to do with it. All right. So let's look at the figure itself. So he has good head articulation, just like the retro Joes. He has the cut. Now he has some translucent plastic, which I've noticed is what Skeletron had been doing with the figures that honor someone, is that they've been kind of doing translucent plastic, no boot cut, just like the regular figures. Same articulation there. Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it? So he's got two knives on his side. They're glued in, but they are separate plastic. You can kind of see that looks like the knives are kind of pegged in a little bit. It looks like. But yeah, look. Hold on. If you could see, it's hard to see with the light. Hold on, let me see if I can turn off. Let me turn off the ring light and see. Actually, let me. Do I have this? Let me see. See if I turn off all my lights. I don't know if you can see it well, but the O-ring is in there. You can see the O-ring. It's kind of hard to catch on camera, I think. So I don't know if you're making it out. Here, there it is wrapping around the top of the peg. Oops. I just don't, it's hard to catch on camera. Maybe, how's that look? You see the O-ring wrapping around his back? Yeah, I think it's kind of cool, actually. I think this is good just even for kind of showing off the mechanics a little bit. All right, so that's him. He looks really good. Okay, so he has a helmet. And he has these wet claw weapons. A snap-on. And then he has a backpack for his translucent ninja swords. So, by the way, he's called Yeti because the toy store, I believe it's called Big Yeti, if I remember right. I don't know if the clear plastic's gonna. I mean, if you're meaning like to play with, yeah, I can see concerns there. As far as display, I don't know if it's going to degrade any more than any other plastic. Okay, so he's also got these translucent ninja stars, and there's 3 pegs on his backpack for them to go on it. And you know what? We're doing it. I'm gonna see if I can get these off good. Okay, I'm gonna have to grab some snips. Hold on a sec. Sorry, I've had these at another table because I was building a Gundam working on a Gundam earlier. Okay, there's that. So that is gonna peg in on the backpack. Whoops. And it's on. There we go. It's on pretty good. That looks like, it feels like they made the peg just a little bit larger than it needs to be to get on there, to have it stay on there. Don't really want to apply heat to it. So we're going to try and press it in. It looks, that first peg went in pretty good. That first one went on pretty good without stressing the peg. Yeah, they're going on pretty good. I like that. I think that looks really cool. I don't see a lot of... This figure is very much for collectors, I think, just because of who he is, who the guy was, and everything. So hopefully it does hold up good for collectors and friends. Okay, so this peg is actually stressing a little bit. I'm kind of worried about this one. I might have to do heat if I want to get this one on. Maybe. Okay, nope, I did get it, I think. I may have to do a little twisting on it. It does look cool. Yeah, that one's not as on the peg as well as the other ones. I'll deal with that later. Yeah, I do like it. There is another character they did that they made that put homage to another person. I don't have that figure. It's not an O-ring. It's a 6-inch figure. I don't know. Oh, I think they have a 4-inch version, modern, but they don't have O-ring. So I haven't gotten that one yet. I'll probably get the rest of their modern figures sometime. So that's this. This is Yeti. That's really cool. Here's what he looks like next to G.I. Joe Retro. And then here's the head comparison. Looks really good. I like this figure. I'm glad I got this one. Definitely. All right, I am going to put this one up with the others real quick. And let's... Oh, and he comes with a stand. He comes with a clear stand. Okay, so I've been calling these Skeletron figures, and they are sold by Skeletron. The actual toy manufacturer of these is Grindhouse Studios. They work with Skeletron to do their O-rings, and I think they're also doing their 4-inch figures. I think. Oh, actually, that might be something else. No, Maverick is doing their 4-inch ones. Okay, this one isn't coming apart as easy, so we'll just do this. So this one we're going to take apart because this one's very much meant to be taken apart. Let's see. Let's get this one out. So this is just this figure is a play on a figure from the Action Force line. And Action Force was England's English version of G.I. Joe. And the villain, instead of Cobra, was, I believe, Red Shadows. And this one is a member of the Red Shadow faction. I don't remember what the original is. It may be the original name was Zarlord. I don't know if it's Zarlord or not. I'm going to have to check that, actually. I'll have to fact check that. But, so it was a reptilian creature that was in that line, and it had an O-ring. And this is kind of Skeletron's play on that figure. All right, let's just do that. Set aside this and the accessories right there. And then here's, like I said, these have file cards similar to G.I. Joe. So this is not out yet. And this is not out yet. Or no, this is out. This one's the only one that's not out yet. I don't have these two because they have sold out. I'm hoping they restock them someday. Or that I can get them at that convention directly from them, at least. Okay, so here's Zarlord. Now, I think Zarlord is meant to be Zarlord or a generic soldier. And this has the same articulation as everything else. So, the reason I want to take this one apart is because we're going to make him Zarlord. This is the Zarlord head, and then this is the foot soldier head. So, they kind of mean for you to maybe buy a couple more of these so that you can have it. This is also meant to be an army builder as well as a named character. So he has a helmet, and it has a translucent visor on the front, so you can see his eyes in there. And he has the same articulation as their Yeti had. So let's look inside of him. Okay, so we're going to look inside of him because we're going to swap these heads. I think that's the head that's meant to be on here, really. I don't... ooh, okay, there we go. I thought that screw was in too deep for a second. All right, so this screw is iodized black instead of a silver screw, which is an interesting touch. Was Yeti screw? What color is Yeti screw? Okay, Yeti screw is silver. So that ionized screw is just an extra touch because he's in a black uniform, which is kind of cool. Okay, so let's separate the torso. And that looks like, to me, that looks like a thicker O-ring than, yeah, that's like, I'd almost say that's a half a size thicker than the retro O-rings and the Super 7 O-rings. Or no, we didn't. Yeah, we looked at the Super 7. Yeah. It's substantially thicker, which is interesting. Arms are the same as the retro figures. And so is the head. Head mechanics are the same. No tape on this one, but that was Super 7's thing. That wasn't anybody else so far. Okay, so we're going to put this head on. And we see that the mechanics are pretty much the same. It does worry me about that thickness of that O-ring, that it might be so tight that this hook part of the leg mechanic may, whoops, no, that's where we want it, may break easier, but I guess we'll see. Okay, we'll put his arms back. We got the new head in. Okay, this one's going to be a little finicky. Okay, let's see. I think the thickness of the band is making it a little more difficult to get everything, to keep everything in position. It keeps one to buckle. Whoops. Okay, hold on. Let's see if we can get that back in. All right. Okay. Got everything in place. New head's in place. Arms are in place. Let's put that screw back in. It's interesting that this screw has a point to it. Whoops. All the other screws have a flat at the end. But you know what? It does kind of guide it into the hole pretty well. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. They could. You can iodize it blue. But if it's, I imagine you can iodize, if you're iodizing it, can iodize blue. But I don't I don't know. I mean, it's the area is translucent anyway, so and if you could since you could view most of the mechanics, I think keeping it silver was probably the way to go on that as well. I don't know if I got the head in correct so much. It wants to look left, but it doesn't want to look right. I wonder if I messed it up somehow. It goes up and down. I think this might be something I'll revisit later. I'll look at a little bit later. No reason he can't wear the helmet. You can see his reptile eyes in there. So he comes with a sword. He comes with a backpack. A jetpack, it looks like. Oops. Get that on camera. And let's see. What can we do with this jetpack? It's got some pegs in the back. Okay. I don't see any instructions on. I'm sure all this equipment probably goes on here. The sword might peg in here. No. I wonder, let me look at the back card real quick. Skeletron's usually decent about providing storage. Okay, so there's two cards on here. The Zergonaut and Zarlord. So, yeah, this is definitely meant to be two characters. I might have to watch someone else's video to see if they know how to put this equipment on. So he comes with this blade weapon. He comes with a pistol. And now he looks like he has knives here too, so this might be a little bit of reuse of let's see, is it reuse? Yeah. Yeah, I think this is reuse of his Yeti's legs. And these may be reused for somewhere else as well. What about the arms? I think the arms may also be reuse as well. They look fairly similar. I'm suspecting this torso is a reuse from the Red Wolf figure O-ring. Which, I mean, for retro toys, I mean, reuse in retro style toys is kind of the thing. It's pretty expected. So the jetpack does fit on pretty good. I had to press it in. I just don't know. I got these two pegs here. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the weapons. Oh, does this one how the sword goes in? I think. I'm not sure if the sword is intended to go through this slot. I'm just not sure how they're supposed to peg in on the backpack. I'm pretty sure that there's some with these pegs and this there's a little slot in here. I'm sure these are meant to store the weapons. I'm not sure how right now. I think I might watch someone else's video to see if I can figure that out. Because I'm not seeing it. Maybe I should have watched someone else's video before this, but I usually don't. Okay, so I'm going to actually put this off to the side now. And we're going to look. I want to do a time check real quick. Because I got one more thing we can open. What time is it? Okay, it's about 7 p.m. my time. You want to open one more thing? It's G.I. Joe. Well, the barrel? Hold on. No, it's kind of... If you're talking about... it, see, okay, let's see. See how that slot's shaped? The way it's shaped, it kind of... I think it's the sword. I'm kind of thinking the sword slides in. I'm wondering if it needs a little bit more space. If there's like not enough material was removed in the production for that sword to fit the way it's supposed to. All right, one more figure. This one's going to be... We'll see how far we go on this one. So, this one I got on sale at Big Bad Toy Store. And there's there's technically three figures. Two of them are O-ring. And it is... The box is huge. It is Sergeant Slaughter, Leatherneck, and Cup, who transforms into Sergeant Slaughter's vehicle, the Triple T. So, let me get some tape. Okay, so I'm going to cut some tape on the top here. And I bet you there's some on the bottom. Yep. Let me see. There's one right here. There's some tape right here. In the front. Let me check the back. Here's kind of some of the back art. Sorry I can't get too much of it in frame. All right. So the box will separate like this. And we got a kind of looks like a Hasbro shipper style box. And then we got a logo on top for the 2024 crossover. So this is, like I said, Big Bad Toy Store was kind of clearancing these out. It wasn't super cheap, but it wasn't as expensive as it originally was. I'm just gonna say that. And Cup comes packed in his robot mode. And then it looks like the figures are not carded, but we'll check. Maybe they are. So I'm gonna have to get these bands off, and then we'll get everything out. So I guess I'm gonna vamp a little bit while I get these. Probably weren't expecting a Transformer on this stream, were you? But I think we got to put them in when we can. Okay. Let me see. There's another. What are we doing here? Okay, here we go. All right, so got Cup out. Cup's pretty big. This is a pretty large figure. He's way bigger than I thought he was. Hold on, I'm zoomed in. Let me zoom out. Okay, so so there's Cup, and here's Chuckles. So he's... Okay, so Optimus Prime is supposed to be 20 feet tall. And let's say Chuckles is about 6 feet tall. Let's call him 6 foot tall. Well, how many retro figures tall is this? Okay, so there's that. So 2.5 retro, so 12 feet. So I'd say Cup, if they were scaled, I'd say Cup is about 15 feet tall, maybe, which seems reasonable, because I don't think Cup is as tall as Optimus Prime. Man, I like this way better than I thought I was. He's so much bigger than I thought it was. I thought we were going to do a... I thought this was going to be like a Voyager class figure. I think this might be a little larger than Leader class. Hold on, I got... This might be Commander class size, actually. I don't... Okay, I have a Commander class. If I can get to him. Okay, so I got all accessories, and I got the figures out. Okay, hold on a sec. Actually, okay, we're not here to review Cup yet. Hold on, we're gonna put Cup to the side. Okay, even though he's very exciting, let's put Cup to the side, and let's do the O-ring. Let's get with the O-rings that came with him, which we got Sergeant Slaughter and Leatherneck, and they are on their cards, so I think that's pretty cool. And I think we're gonna open. That will be the one I take apart. Yeah, with Marvel, Firewall says, never knew how to feel about Transformers and G.I. Joe stuff. I know it makes sense, but still. So I grew up with G.I. Joe and Transformers in the comic books, Marvel comic books, being in the same universe. Because they had crossover in the comic books. And... Hold on a sec. Let me take a drink of water. So, I'm guessing 15 feet, actually. Closer to 15, I think. But, okay, so, back in the day, yeah, Marvel did a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover, and that crossover affected both comic book series. G.I. Joe killed Bumblebee. They straight up killed Bumblebee because they didn't know what he was. And that carried over into the Transformers main comic book. Bumblebee was dead for a long time. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier about Hasbro's file cards. English here, then another language, another language, another language, another language. I don't know what these languages are. I'm assuming Spanish, French, maybe Italian. I don't know. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Okay, so Firewall source is that Cup would be about 15 to 20 feet tall. So that makes sense. I know the comic book Optimus Prime was supposed to be 20 feet tall. And I would assume that Cup is at least shorter than Optimus Prime. Okay, so here is our Sergeant Slaughter figure. Now, Sergeant Slaughter was an odd figure kind of with the G.I. Joe, because he was a WWF wrestler when I was a kid. And he wrestled as Sergeant Slaughter. I think this is stylized after version 2 of Sergeant Slaughter, but I'm not positive. Okay. I had this. This was a Sergeant Slaughter when I was a kid. Was a mail-away action figure. So you would they used to have like little points printed out on the back here, and you'd cut out these points, and you'd have to have so many points, and you'd have to mail them in to prove that you bought so many figures. Usually it's around 5 figures. And then you'd mail it in plus shipping and some cash for shipping and handling. And then the only way to get Sergeant Slaughter was through that mail-in offer. At least the original version. I believe version 2 came with the Triple T. Now I did mail away for the original version, and of course I don't have it anymore. Wish I did. But yeah, this is cool. So I'm gonna try to get his baton in his hand without damaging his hand. Actually, it looks like this is kind of more flexible than the older figures used to be. Oh yeah, there is some flex. Okay, so it's nice. These hands are more rubbery than the retro toys were. The retro toys would break easily with the weapons. Okay, so there's Sergeant Slaughter. It looks pretty traditional for O-Wing. I would say this is the kind of head style and everything I remember from a kid. So this tracks as very retro style. Okay, so I'm gonna put him up. I'm gonna leave him here for a sec. Let's put him here, and let's open up Leatherneck. So here's the thing about are the O-rings are smaller than the modern. So my question is, and I haven't really looked it up that much. Are the 4-inch figures the 1/18th, or are the O-rings the 1/18th? Because I think it makes a little bit more sense mathematically, and maybe I'm wrong, that the 4-inch figures would technically be the 1/18th scale. I mean, like, this would be 1/18th, and the O-rings would technically maybe be a different scale because they're a little shorter, typically. I mean, Sergeant Slaughter's a tall figure anyway. But yeah, you see, Chuckles is definitely shorter. I'm not sure if this was if this might be larger than the retro Sergeant Slaughter, actually. Now that I think about it. Okay. Now that's assuming these. I guess it's assuming these O-rings are the old retro scale. We'll check that in a second. Leatherneck's also a big guy though, so this might not be a super fair comparison. Let's put that card away. Put that up there. Okay, so here's Leatherneck. I didn't have Leatherneck, so I don't know how true this one is to the original figure. And we're gonna go ahead. He seems like he's got the same articulation. Oh, okay, they're both considered 1/18th. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. We'll open up his chest real quick and see what's going on. He comes with a backpack. And I think this is an M16. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Okay, let's open him up real quick and see what's going on. Okay. This one I feel a little bit more comfortable opening up since I'm not as in love with Leatherneck as I was with Sergeant Slaughter. Okay, can we get him open, or is he painted shut? That's the deal. Oh, nope, he splits. Okay, that makes sense. I see your ratios there on your latest chat. 4-inch being 1/8 and 6 feet tall in real life. No, I don't even. I mean, okay, so this is kind of this. So this is not as thick as the super set, or not. I'm sorry, the Skeletron was. This is more. This is more the size I was expecting, and it looks like the parts pretty much the same. Let's look at his head. Okay, so what's different about the head is it doesn't have the pegs that the retro figures and a lot of the other figures we opened tonight have. So I'm assuming if he wasn't restricted by his collar, he would be able to swivel all the way around. Then there's no cutouts for the pegs like there were the other ones. So I don't know how Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, it was just it must. I assume some sort of deal between Hasbro and WWF. I'm not sure. No, there was I think there was also a Roddy Rowdy Piper figure after a while, and I believe there were Street Fighter crossover figures if I remember right. I think it just since Sergeant Slaughter was a wrestler named Sergeant Slaughter, who was a military wrestler, themed wrestler, I think they may have just thought it made sense to do a crossover with him and just do a cross promotion. Okay, let's put him back together. And yeah, his head does turn all the way around. Let's see, comic books. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. I read some of them. He was not super regular in the comics. He was into comic books for a little bit. So the thing with the comic books where it was a lot of the comic books, the characters that were showing up in the comic books were dependent on what characters Hasbro was selling at the time. There were some regulars like say Snake Eyes and Duke and stuff, but a lot of the characters like went in and out depending on what was going on with the toy line. So you could only see a character for a couple of issues or a few, like maybe 3 or 4 issues before it's time to rotate to another whatever was out again. That was kind of the weird thing about these come with stands. That was what was weird about the comic book. It was very much now. The comic book lasted longer than the toy line, so he didn't have to do that. Larry Hama didn't actually have to do that as much later in the series. So I think this one fits better in this hand. All right, so there's those two. So a little bit different engineering as far as the neck goes, but everything else is pretty much standard. So it's looking like a lot of the engineering in these O-rings are very similar to the retro line. No extra articulation. Insides look pretty much the same, except for the neck on Leatherneck was different. So I'm not gonna open up Egon. I think that it feels like there's not a ball on this neck, so I'm assuming that there's just some sort of peg in there. So that would be the only difference. This is mostly the outlier. Well, you know what? The Duke was the same way. The Duke head just turned around as well. It didn't go up and down. So I like the O-ring style. Do we want to mess with Cup a little bit? So I think, let me see. Let me scan the. Oh, here. There's also some extra pieces. I think these are Cup pieces. I don't think these are. Yeah, I don't know what like this was back in the 80s, you know? If Hasbro had Sergeant Slaughter's likeness. It may have it and Marvel had the Hasbro license, then it might not have been a problem. Let's see how this goes. Well, check really quick and see how accessories go on, because it looks like he's got a backpack here. So here's his instructions. I don't think I'm going to transform him right now, but we will put on his backpack. See, I don't know how consistent Transformers scaling is, honestly, because this is a very large figure. Actually, you know what? If we want to take a side quest, let me see how this goes on real quick. I think this goes. Does this go right here? Oh, is it? Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. I don't really want to mess it up. I think. Hold on. Okay, so I think it rotates this way. No, that can't be right. I think I might look at this later, honestly, to put this together. I don't want to screw it up on stream. Because once this is pegged in, it's pegged in for good, it looks like. I'd rather, unless it goes in on this side, this might be it. Yeah, I think this is it. Okay, so I'll pick this right there. And then this goes on this side. Okay. And I think this can flap down, I think. Let me see. Actually, let's put the missiles on and stuff too. So there's slots there. I think, how do these go on? Oh, they go on here. Okay. They got slots right here that they go on. So here is, see, this is a very large cup compared to my Studio Series cup. I'll try and I'll pull something off this Transformer shelf real quick. It feels like, for the most part, the O-ring part of this stream is kind of over. And we've got a bonus Transformers figure. All right, there's that, and then I got two of these that go. Looks like they go in by the missile right here. I think they're meant to come in and out pretty easy though, because I feel like we're gonna move them if when he gets transformed, because that's storage. And then I think let me see. Sorry, looking up one other thing. Because I know they're supposed to go on his back. but it's not really showing where on his back they're supposed to, or, oh, okay. Never mind, I see it. Okay, so on his backpack, actually we take these, if we could also take these off. That's storage, that's optional storage right there for these, but they could also be his pistols for him. He's got a lot of ratchets on him. Okay. And then, oh, I need to flip his... He didn't come shipped with his toes flip out. And there's some ankle tilt on for him. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so we got cup here, okay? And then this is supposed to flip down. There we go. So this part flips down, and then they can peg in to be passengers on his back. Like that. And then there's some computer monitors for them to look at. Cartoons, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so there's that. Let me grab some couple of transformers. Okay. Studio Series Cup is deluxe size. So that's Studio Series Cup compared to this guy. Okay, I think this is Junk Heap, and I think this is Voyager class, if I remember right. So there's a size comparison there. Okay, so this is Studio Series Megatron, and he is leader class. I've got their feet even to each other. So we know that Cup's not going to be taller than Megatron. So this is a big figure. All right, being careful not to knock stuff off my shelf. This is a Commander class. He does have 1586. This is a Commander class. Ultra Magnus Studio Series. I think this is Studio Series. I'm not positive. I don't remember if this is actually. I think this was probably Studio Series. They're about the same size. So this is a Commander class that comes with O-rings. And I'm going to tell you, I did not get it for a Commander class price. It was way cheaper than that. So I pretty happy with this purchase. Because I got some retro styled figures. And I believe when we get this transformed, he's going to be, it looks like he's going to be about the size of the Triple T vehicle. I had the Triple T, if I remember, or my brother did. It was in my house. Okay, I got to put these Transformers somewhere where I can put them on back on the shelf later. All right. So, what we've opened up tonight, or we've opened up and we've done a little bit of repair, a little bit of cleaning on what we could on these retro figures. We've opened up the Ghostbusters set, but I've only take one out of the package for the sake of time. We've got our Skeletron figures, which I was very impressed with. Especially this one. We got our Super 7, which are pretty cool as well. We do need to see if I can get the wrinkles out of Cobra Commander's cape there. Those will do the packaging. And we got some Retro Joes that came with Hasbro. So Hasbro made these. And this. Skeletron Grindhouse Studios made this. Super 7 made these. And these are retro Hasbro figures. So next week is a 50-50 chance that I won't be streaming next week. I don't know yet. I will tell you next week is May the 4th. Next Monday is. So, if that's any clue of what kind of figure, if we have a stream, that should give you a clue of what kind of blockies I'll be opening next week and building. But I may have an event with the 501st during the streaming time. So, if you're around, yeah, I basically just pay attention to your notifications. I think I don't know if I have access to the community tab like I used to. I may put in there whether I'll stream or not. It's really up in the air. Kind of figured a couple things out because there's a 501st event, I think, and then there's a work event, outside office event going on. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna ditch both the stream or if I'm gonna break and do one. I just haven't decided yet. But it will be Star Wars Day. If we don't make it next week, we are going to do some blockage Transformers. I had an idea from the Transformers 1 stream that I want to do maybe some sort of series that I might want to start. So, Firewall, appreciate you being here. Thanks for the chat. Thank you for keeping me company. Everyone else watching this stream later. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the stuff. I really appreciate it. And everybody, have fun.